What is up, everyone? My name is Jack Apple, back again with another video, and today I'm here to talk about last week's Superstar Shakeup for the WWE, where we saw people get drafted from SmackDown to Raw and from Raw to SmackDown. So I'm going to be talking about all the people that got switched over in the shakeup, and before we actually talk about this, I want to mention about last Thursday. We unfortunately lost the living legend, Bruno Sammartino. Yeah, man, this was just... It hurt to see when I found out the news that Bruno died. Because he wasn't just any other wrestler. Like, he is one of the biggest and most important wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling. Like, anywhere this guy went, he sold out. Like, when he was WWE champion, or WWF champion as it was known at the time, he was just selling out arenas everywhere he went. Just people wanted to see this guy. And, like, in my opinion, Bruno Sammartino is one of the greatest babyfaces of all time, because he came from Italy, and he moved from Italy to America, and just wanted a better life for his family. That's all he ever wanted, and just a better life for himself. And he became just a massive star for the WWF, as it was known at the time. And he just had a very genuine feel about him. He just felt like a very genuine guy. There was a lot of guys around the 70s and 60s period of wrestling where they started to be a bit more flamboyant and try to piss off the crowd. But that was never the case with Bruno. He was never one to just flaunt about how great he was or anything like that. He was just a regular guy. You know, he didn't wear any flashy attire or anything, just simple trunks and boots. And I think that resonated with people at the time. And it was just a regular guy. He was jacked up beyond all belief. But I think it was just that connection that the fans had with Bruno, and that Bruno had with the fans, that is very hard to replicate, because people genuinely loved Bruno Sammartino, man. Like, still to this day, people talk about just how great he was. And he's the longest reigning WWE champion of all time. He held the title for at least 7 or 8 years. And then with his second reign, he held that championship for a few years until he got beaten by, I believe, superstar Billy Graham. And that was when he started to wind his career down. And he left WWE for a while because he wasn't exactly thrilled with where the company was going. It was starting to be more of a entertainment-based thing, and that just wasn't Bruno's way of the wrestling business. It was more of like a fixed sport to him. And now, with the rise of guys like Hogan, Warrior, and just all these big, colorful gimmicks, that wasn't Bruno. He wasn't a big, colorful guy. He was just... I'm Bruno Sammartino, and he was just the best at what he did. So, yeah, and especially during the Attitude Era, where everything was very raunchy, Bruno didn't want anything to do with that. But around 2012, 2013, Triple H called Bruno to ask him if he wanted to be a part of the Hall of Fame, and he was a bit iffy at first, but Triple H told him, look at our product now, and we're not as violent, and we're not as... pushing the boundaries as we used to, pretty much. And I think guys because Bruno even said himself, like, these guys look like legit athletes. And, you know, I think, yeah, in a way, he's kind of right, because I feel like, especially in the last few years, WWE has definitely put a lot more focus on the in-ring competition, the in-ring aspect of the WWE, and I think that's what attracted Bruno to come back to the WWE and to get inducted in the 2013 Hall of Fame class. And yeah, I was just happy to see Bruno finally put aside his differences with Vince and the company to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. And yeah, Bruno, we're never going to forget Bruno Sammartino. He is one of the most important people in the history of WWE. Like, there's no way you can forget about what Bruno did for the professional wrestling industry. He's way too important, man. So, yeah, rest in peace to the living legend, Bruno Sammartino. But, we're going to go to a more lighter topic, I guess, and talk about the Superstar Shakeup and the people that got drafted. So we'll start off with the people that got drafted to Monday Night Raw, and I'm basically going to talk about where I can see these guys going in the next 12 months, or what I think they should do. So, the first person drafted was Jinder Mahal with one of the Singh brothers with him. He was the United States champion, and he was drafted as champion, but he eventually dropped the title to Jeff Hardy, who would get moved to SmackDown. So Jinder's back on Raw. I could probably see him still be in the Intercontinental Championship picture. I can definitely see him at some point at the end of the year winning the Intercontinental title. It seems like WWE are still very fixed on wanting to make Jinder a star. And although I'm not a fan of Jinder Mahal at all, if we're going to keep Jinder in the mid-card, I'm fine with that. I feel like that's where we should have put Jinder in the first place and see how he could have gone as a US champion or an Intercontinental champion. And I think Jinder can prove a lot of people wrong. And I hope he proves me wrong if he ever gets booked to win the Intercontinental title, which I wouldn't be shocked if they did that at this point. So we also got the Riot Squad. Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan got drafted to Raw. Cool. No disrespect to the three women involved. They're really, really good talents and all that, but the Riot Squad just does nothing for me. It seems like they're just a copycat of Absolution, which is, I never got that. Why they just have two very similar factions on the same brand. But, they've swapped over for Absolution, who are now on SmackDown, which I'll get to later on. But I hope for the best for those three ladies. I'm sure Ruby Riott is going to get a shot at Raw Women's title, and I hope they build more of a character for the Riot Squad, you know. But, moving on from that, we had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This was probably one of the more bigger picks for Monday Night Raw. Owens and Zayn were fired from SmackDown, and they didn't beat Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, so they couldn't get their jobs at SmackDown. So Stephanie McMahon brought them the Monday Night Raw, although Kevin Owens headbutted her father on SmackDown last year. But I think it's because Stephanie McMahon hates Shane so much and hates SmackDown so much that she would steal someone that headbutted her own father. Like, to be honest, that does sound like something Stephanie would do. She's that much of a bitch to kind of do something like that. So, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been in the main event mix-up. Obviously not in the main event, but because that's reserved for, at the moment, looks like it's Brock and Roman and possibly Samoa Joe, but considering where he's on now, we may not see that. But, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I hope one of those two guys gets in the Universal Championship picture soon. Kevin Owens could become a two-time Universal Champion. Not complaining about that at all. So, the other picks we had Zack Ryder, which, cool with me. Long Island IC's now on Raw. Love me some Zack Ryder. Breezango is on Raw. That's cool, I guess. Hope they do a few fashion files, or if they don't, then whatever, because Breezango, they've kind of fallen off a little bit ever since they've stopped doing those fashion file segments. But Natalya is now on Monday Night Raw. I feel like she's going to be a big part of the women's division on Raw, and why I think that is because now she's buddies with Ronda Rousey. Well, I do understand that she was the one that trained Ronda a lot in her build-up to the WWE, so I feel like this friendship isn't going to last long. I think this is leading up to a feud going on to the future. I'm not sure when, but I'm sure we're going to get a Natalya and Ronda Rousey match. We'll probably get a tag match where it's Alexa Bliss and Mickie James versus Ronda Rousey and Natalya, and then Natalya could turn on Ronda or something. I don't know. But yeah, Natalya, there's a lot of cool things I could do with her for the women's division. So I'm happy that she's on, and yeah. Mojo Rawley's on Raw. Cool. Dolph Ziggler has been moved to Raw. I'd probably have the same reaction for Ziggler moving to Raw that I did for Mojo Rawley, but here's the thing. On the Raw that the Superstar Shakeup took place, Titus Worldwide came out, so I'm like, oh, yep, now this is really exciting, guys, because nothing builds up my excitement more than Titus Worldwide. That was until Drew McIntyre returns from injury. He's been brought up to the main roster again, and yeah, he's teamed up with Dolph Ziggler, so that's an interesting team. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. And by the way, the promo that Drew McIntyre cut on Raw this past week was absolute fire. I see so much money in Drew McIntyre. I can see this guy becoming a Universal Champion soon. Like, I'm not going to hold my breath because people said that in 2009. Remember when Vince McMahon said that Drew McIntyre would be a future world champion and they never gave him the title in his first run? Hopefully the second run could be the one where he finally gets a Universal Championship. I really hope Drew McIntyre gets put into that main event picture because that would be really awesome to see. Baron Corbin, Billy's favorite wrestler, is now on Monday Night Raw. I'm sure he's going to be around the Intercontinental title picture. I think he's in a feud with No Way Jose at the moment, so because he attacked him on Raw this past week. So yeah, I'm sure Baron Corbin will probably be Intercontinental Champion at some point, or at least around that title picture. Hell, they could push him to the Universal title picture, because I think Vince is pretty high on this guy. I think he really likes Baron Corbin. He sees something in him that maybe we don't see yet. Baron Corbin does have potential to be a great star, but I don't know, man. I'm just not that big of a Corbin fan. Like, there's some elements of his character I really like, but overall, he's not my favorite guy on the roster. Let's just say that. The Ascension is on Raw. I would say this could be a good opportunity for them to maybe get into that tag team title picture, but at this point, if they can't even get to the titles on SmackDown, what makes me think they're going to get to the championships on Raw? Like, yeah. Bobby Roode is now on Monday Night Raw. This is really cool. Happy to see Bobby Roode on the flagship show, apparently. And where I could see this leading for Bobby Roode, I wouldn't be shocked if they turned him heel sometime in the future. I want him to turn heel. Like, don't get me wrong, he's alright as a babyface. Like, he's fine, but he's not glorious. You know, no, pun intended. As a heel, like, his character just fits so much better as a heel to me. The whole glorious character is just a much better fit for a heel. Like, I do really like Bobby Roode, obviously, and he's doing the best he can as a babyface, but I feel like if they turn him heel at some point, he can be able to show off his full potential like he did in NXT. But it's going to be interesting to see. He's going to stay babyface for the next few months, or hell, they may not even turn him heel. Who knows, man? And the last pick for Raw was Chad Gable, who was wrestled a match against Jinder Mahal this past week on Raw and actually beat him, which is surprising. So a Gable Mahal feud. I want this to be the place where Chad Gable can be able to build himself up as a single star. But then again, Jason Jordan is probably going to return soon. And there's no way they're not going to do something with Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. Whether it is reforming American Alpha to get rid of the heat on Jason Jordan, or this could be where Jordan turns heel on Chad Gable and they have a feud. That could be really awesome. But yeah, with Chad Gable at the moment, I think he's going to float around the mid-cards a little bit, but until Jason Jordan comes back, then he's going to be put in a program with him. That's where I can see happening. So that's all we had for Raw. As for SmackDown, man, SmackDown, they've got some good picks, man. They've got some good people coming over. So The Miz was drafted to SmackDown on the episode of Raw. And yeah, it looks like the Miz and Daniel Bryan feud is going to happen because he hosted an episode of Miz TV. and it looked like we were going to see Daniel Bryan come out, but instead we got Big Cass, who made his return on the Superstar Shake-Up for SmackDown, taking out Daniel Bryan, and after his match with AJ Styles, I think it was like a tag team match with Rusev and Aiden English as well. So Big Cass is getting a main event push already. It's interesting. I think he can do a lot. Like, Big Cass has a lot of potential to be really good. Like, the promo he cut on SmackDown this week was really fucking good. And as a heel, he could be great, man. I think he could be a really great big man heel. And very different to the typical big man we see. Because the typical big man heel is the grrr, I'm gonna kill everyone, grrr, and all that stuff. But Big Cass, he's got a bit of a swagger to him, in a way. And that's really cool to see. You don't see that often with big monster heels, and Big Cass could be something very different and cool for the SmackDown roster. So I hope he does his best, and yeah, you know what? I'm going to say it right now. Big Cass is probably going to be WWE Champion in the next 12 months, or at least have a WWE title match eventually, because that's what it's definitely looking like. Jeff Hardy is another person that I also think is in the running to become WWE Champion at some point in 12 months. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but at least give him a WWE title match. Because, you know, now that he's on a singles run, he's United States Champion now after beating Jinder Mahal on the Raw edition of the Superstar Shake-Up. I think he's going to hold that title for quite a while, man. It looks like he's feuding with Shelton Benjamin alongside with Randy Orton. How weird is that? A Jeff Hardy, Shelton Benjamin, and Randy Orton feud taking place in 2018. In 2018, these three guys are having a feud for a mid-card title. This year's crazy, man. This is crazy. Absolution is now on SmackDown. This should be interesting now that Paige is the general manager of SmackDown. I'm not sure if she's going to turn heel and try to help Absolution win matches. I don't think she will. I think she's like, look, I'm retired. I'm the GM now. You can't ask me for help all the time. You guys are going to have to figure it out for yourselves. Something like that. So, yeah, I'm sure Absolution will... they haven't wrestled yet on SmackDown, but... I'm not sure where I'm going to see them in the women's title picture. So that's going to be an interesting see. Samoa Joe. Oh, man. On SmackDown. This is awesome. Just imagine the matches we're going to see now that Samoa Joe is on SmackDown. I know he's planning to face Roman Reigns at Backlash, and that's probably going to be for the Universal Championship. Not sure yet. We'll have to find out the Greatest Royal Rumble, but... yeah, Samoa Joe being on SmackDown just opens up a world of possibilities for me. Like, imagine him versus Daniel Bryan, him versus AJ Styles, him versus Shinsuke Nakamura again. Like, man, him versus Jeff Hardy. Like, oh my god. Just so many awesome, like, matches we could see. Like, the SmackDown roster is absolute fire at the moment. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see what SmackDown's doing. Because the last few SmackDowns have been really, really good. Like, really damn good. So, we also have an NXT call-up, Insanity, which is Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane. No Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross isn't going to be brought up, which is unfortunate. I think they want to establish her as a female talent on NXT, which is fine by me. If this leads to a NXT Women's title run for her, you know what? Ain't gonna complain. Because Nikki Cross is pretty fucking awesome. And so is Sanity. Please don't fuck him up. That's all I can ask for. But every time I say, oh, please don't fuck up a talent, they always find a way to just bore you. But I think SmackDown is starting to get better again. Like, getting back to where it was in late 2016, early 2017. Well, these last three Raws have showed us anyway. So, yeah, I want Sanity to do really well. And I honestly want them to win the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Imagine Sanity versus the Bludgeon Brothers. Ooh, there's your Tag Team Feud of the Year right there. Sanity and the Bludgeon Brothers. Holy shit, that will be absolutely the sickest thing ever. So, speaking of things that are sick as hell, Asuka is now on SmackDown. That's awesome. I'm actually shocked that she didn't get just automatically put on SmackDown anyway, because of her challenging Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania. So we could see I wouldn't be shocked if we see a Charlotte Flair Asuka rematch at SummerSlam. I mean, how awesome would that be? Like a Charlotte Flair Asuka match at SummerSlam. I reckon those two could have an even better match than their match at WrestleMania, which their match was great. But I think their match at SummerSlam could be even better. So that's a really cool thing we could be seeing. Gallows and Anderson are on SmackDown, and it looks like they're instantly paired up with AJ Styles, which is just awesome to me. Have the club back together. I think that's really cool. And especially the ending of this week's SmackDown, where it was the club taking on Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev and Aiden English. And what I really liked about the ending of that match was that Carl Anderson took a Kinshasa to the face for AJ Styles. So it looks like they are committed to each other, man. Like they're like, it's more than a club, it's also like a brotherhood in a way. So yeah, can we also talk about how awesome Shinsuke's been as a heel? Oh, and also his new theme song as well is absolute fire. Man, SmackDown's been killing it these last 3 weeks, man. It's really awesome seeing them get back on their feet. Cesaro and Sheamus, the Bar, is on SmackDown. So yeah, the tag team division is looking really good on SmackDown. Because you have Cesaro and Sheamus, Gallows and Anderson, Sanity, you've got the New Day, you've got the Usos, the Bludgeon Brothers, and man, this tag team division is gonna be like the tag team division on SmackDown last year was great. The matches between New Day and Usos were fantastic. Just imagine the shit we're gonna get this year. Oh, dude, I'm ready. I feel like 2018 has a lot of potential to be a fantastic year for the WWE. I'm not holding my breath because every time I get hyped up and think WWE's doing well, they always crash and burn. So I'm excited for now. Let me revel in the excitement for now, at least. R-Truth was on SmackDown. Cool. But the final pick was Andrade Cien Almas and Selena Vega. Why am I keep saying their picks? Because no one's picking. They just show up randomly. Andrade Cien Almas. I'm very excited to see him on SmackDown. Where he's going to be placed on the card, I don't think he's going to be put to the NXT. I don't think he's going to be brought up to the WWE title picture straight away. I think it's going to be more of a slow burn for him. I reckon he's going to face a couple of singles matches. Maybe go after the United States title. I can definitely see him winning the United States Championship at some point in 2018. And they could potentially have a match with him involving the WWE title. Like him versus AJ Styles would be great. Or him and Daniel Bryan would be fantastic. Yeah, like, dude, there is so much potential on this SmackDown roster now. So much damn potential, man. Like, SmackDown, if they actually write the show a lot better than they did last year, because last year, SmackDown was just such a disappointment week after week. They had their good moments, but the rest of the show was just, man. So I'm hoping with this roster being like kind of revitalized and with so much new blood put into SmackDown could go back to where it was in late 2016 and early 2017. And you know what? I'm really fucking excited. And also for Raw as well. Raw's actually been pretty damn good the last few weeks as well. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for where WWE's going to head in the next few months and until the WrestleMania 35. But yeah, I'm sure not every show is going to be great. We're going to have a few shit ones. But you know what? I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to see what WWE's doing, because not only do we have the Greatest Royal Rumble on Friday or Saturday at 2 a.m. for us Australians, And we also have the Backlash pay-per-view the next week. So we got a lot of stuff to look forward to as WWE fans. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts on the Superstar Shakeup. And if you want to see more from me, hit that subscribe button. Be glad you did. Twitter and Instagram's at JackermanLaw for anyone if you want to check me out there. Thank you so much for watching, and I am out in 3, 2, 1.